Has anyone else found that using AI has changed the way they communicate? I certainly have, and it became really apparent over this past week, and I've got two great examples. First, I had a day of meetings. There was a lot of back and forth, a lot of discussions, having to define everything, get everybody on the same page, and I was getting super frustrated. Now, these meetings are always frustrating, but they were more frustrating than usual, and I couldn't figure out why. And I realized that I've been working a lot inside of Claude and ChatGPT, and a couple of things. I usually do typing at the desk. I talk when I'm mobile, but at the desk I'm typing, and it allows me to slow down the thought process and say, what am I really trying to say here? Those systems have a persistent memory because I've built it in. So when I use certain terms, it knows exactly what I mean. And we can go ahead and we can work through a problem and it will ask questions. And if it takes 30 minutes to understand the problem and get the full concept, so be it. That's what it took. You don't have that capability on a meeting when you're trying to move fast and make decisions. Everyone's coming in with their own context and their own definitions, and they don't want to hear anyone else's. So I was getting frustrated because the people I was working with weren't as dumb as an AI. Months ago, I had an executive tell me how I don't even use Bing or Google anymore. I just use Perplexity or ChatGPT, and that's how I do all my searches. And I'm thinking, that's crazy. And then I realized that was actually a lot of what I was doing. Sure, I could go over to Google to look something up, but if I was already working in AI on a problem, I'd let it go do the searches. And how that ended up working out is very simply, I said, this is not a search engine. I know I'm burning through a ton of tokens. I'm going to go use Google. Now, as an example, let's say on Google, you might search for something like Windows 11 Air XYZ troubleshooting. You put the keywords in, you get back. You might use some natural language in there, but more or less, especially if you've been doing it for a while, you shorten it down to only what you need. The rest of it's irrelevant. When you're working in the flow in natural language and AI, you talk a little bit different. Hey, I'm having an error. This is happening, or this is the error it's displaying. Help me troubleshoot that. If you say something like that, you do add more irrelevant context, and the AI still picks it up, parses it, gets you back the information. I found that in Google, I was going over and I was typing things like, do you have any suggestions for, and there's a full sentence like I was talking to a person. I was getting the right results because of Google's AI. I just thought it was funny because I did that two or three times before I realized what I was doing. I had changed the way that I was speaking to search because of what I had become used to typing in. How about you guys? Have you noticed that your language, your communication style, and preferences have changed after working with AI for a while?